What's going on, y'all? My name is Don Russo. Today we're going to be learning the solo from Hotel California. So let's jump on in. So we're going to start off in B minor, and these guys do a really great job of chasing chords. So I'm going to try to point that out as we go along. The first lick is you can start kind of pretty much anywhere. On the tab I wrote the 3rd fret because they're coming from this F sharp chord, so I just chose that note. But you could just go, you could literally slide from anywhere as long as you land on the 11th fret of the G string. I'm going to start from the 3rd fret just because that's what I have on the tabs. Then I'm going to go to the B string on the 10th fret and hammer to the 12th fret. This is all the B minor pentatonic. And then after you get there, you're going to bend up 1.5 steps to this D note up here on the 15th fret by going like this. But we don't pick it again. We let the hammer carry us into that bend. And if you want to check your tuning, you can just go up here and play the 15th fret and see if you... It's a pretty tough bend, so you may have to get used to doing it. And after you do that, we're going to hammer again. And then come down to, so 10 to 12 are here. Then come down to the 9th fret of the G string. Then we're going to hammer right here from 7th fret of the G string to the 9th fret of the G string. Still in the B minor pentatonic. Then we get down to the 7th fret of the B string, still in that B minor pentatonic. Then there's comes back up to the G string. So this is like a finger roll. I usually do a finger roll here. And then there's this slight half step, kind of quarter step bend there. And that lands on the 8th fret of the D string. Here's the first part of what I think is a really great example of chasing chords. When it goes to this F sharp 7 chord, this note here, that A sharp is inside of the chord. And that's the note we're landing right here on the 8th fret of the D string. So let's put all that together. And then we're going to do come back here to the 4th fret of the G string and the 5th in the 5th box of the pentatonic pattern. If you don't know what that is, make sure you learn your boxes of your pentatonic pattern. It's super important and useful. We're going to do a hammer pull. So 4 to 7 back to 4. I'm using my ring finger. You can feel free to use your pinky if you want, but I use my ring finger so that I can come up here and do this next bend. This is a really great bend. So we're in the pentatonic, and then we're going to bend up a half step back to this A sharp because we're still in this F sharp 7 chord. So I'm going to go 4, 7, 4, then to the 7th fret of the D string, and then bend a half step. Again, you can check your bend tuning by just going up a half step. And I like to pull down whenever I'm on these 3 strings because I have more real estate going that way. When I'm on these 3 strings, I bend up this way. So here's the whole thing. Cool, and that's kind of like the first phrase there. This next phrase, we're going to be starting on the 7th fret of the G string and still in the pentatonic scale. Then we're going to come down to the 9th fret, which is still in the pentatonic. Do that finger roll again. And that slight bend there again. Then we're going to go the 9th fret to the 8th fret back to the 9th fret like this. On the D string, just going to pull off and then come back down. So the second time, so it does it again. First time is 9, 8, 9 on the D string. The second time it goes 9, 7, 9. So, and it pulls off twice, okay? All right, so we got, then we're gonna come up here to the B string on the 10th fret. We're gonna do a full step bend. And we're going to add our pinky on the 10th fret of the high E string. And then we play the 10th fret again and do a negative bend. So you keep the bend up like that. Keep it up, add this note, and then play it at the peak and release it. So we go 7, 10, then we do half step bend here from the 8th fret of the B string. We're gonna be bending up a half step to this G sharp here. And this is another great example of chasing the chords, because right there at this point, they're on this E chord, and the G sharp is in that chord. That's the 3rd of E, so. Okay, so all that together. This next lick here is gonna be in the B minor pentatonic still as well. We're gonna go from the 7th fret and roll up to the B string on the 7th fret into a bend on the high E string in the 10th fret. And then we play the 10th fret again without bending it, so. And then I'm gonna do a pre-bend release down to the 7th fret of the high E string, so. And then we're gonna come to the 10th fret of the B string. Full step bend again. You can check your bending if you want to. So. And then we're gonna go to the 10th fret of the high E string. Do that same lick. So we're gonna bend, add this note, and then hit it again, do a negative bend down to the 8th fret of the B string, so. Then there's like 2 little like mutes here. You can just pick 1 string or a couple strings. It doesn't super matter, so. Now I'm gonna bend the 9th fret of the G string. And then I'm gonna add my pinky on the 10th fret of the high E string. This one's gonna be a bit more staccato. See how like I stop it and make it short there? And then you do the negative bend. This is slightly different. You don't let it ring on the top, you stop it and come down. Then we go down to the 7th fret of the G string. And it does a little pull off here from 7, 6, back to 7. So we got. Okay, this next little section is gonna start on the 7th fret of the G string. And I'm gonna go, I do a hammer on. Then I come up to the high E, or sorry, the B string on the 7th fret, and I do an index finger bend. I'm gonna bend up. So the first one's a bend, the second one's a bend release. Hear the difference? Okay, so I got, then I go 9, 7, so. I do a little pull off right there. Then I come back up to the 9th fret of the G string. Then I do 3 bends, 2 bends, 1 bend release. So another pull off from 9 to 7 on the G string. And then pull off. This is all over the E minor, so you can kind of tell this bending up to this note really works because this G note is inside of E minor, so. Then we have a nice little pentatonic riff here where we bend the 9th fret of the G string, 7th fret of the B string to the 10th fret of the B string. So then we do the same thing where we bend the 9th fret of the G, then we go 7B up to the 7th fret of the high E. Then we do a bend release pull off like that. So we're bending, releasing, and pulling off to the 7th fret. So 9, bend, release, pull off to 7 on the G string. So then you bend the 9th fret of the G string again, and also you can add a little vibrato on the top because he adds vibrato on that. So By the way, this is Don Felder's part, this whole first part here. So we got. Cool, and then at this point, you have Joe Walsh come in. And the lick is pretty similar, like off the top. So let's talk about that. This is all B minor pentatonic again. It's gonna be very similar. You're gonna bend the G string on the 9th fret and then go to the 7th fret of the B, 10th fret of the B. So then you do it again and you go 9B, 9 high E. I'm sorry, 7B, 7 high E. And do it again. This time you go 7 high E, 7B. So. And the last one you bend and go 7B, 7 high E. And I've watched Don Felder play this live, and sometimes he just kind of plays like almost like a Chuck Berry kind of like that, where he's kind of just playing both of them together or just playing whatever. He never really does it the same way twice. But listening to the recording, I found that I heard it accenting kind of like that. And you can be a little sloppy with it, like in grabbing a couple of the notes at the same time, and that's totally okay, right? So, all together. And we're gonna do a bend, release, pull off again. So that's gonna be 9th fret, I'm gonna bend, release, pull off from 9 to 7. So bend, it's full step bend. Bend, release, pull off. Then back to 9, then the 7th fret of the G string, and then I bend the 9th fret again and put vibrato on it. It's hard to put vibrato at the top of a bend. You don't have to, you can just go. And you can use your like a whammy bar over here if you'd rather, like a tremolo arm. But anyway, and make sure your vibrato, I usually put it on like at the trail end of it, not like at the very top of it, so you know. So don't go, I don't think it sounds as good when you go right in the vibrato like this. Because it doesn't really, you can't hear the note, right? So think about it like a singer, when a singer sings a note and like at the trail of their voice is when the vibrato happens. Usually it doesn't come right in on it. Okay, so that's that part. Then there's a little whip, like he just comes up here and whips this like 19th fret. It really sounds like it's like a whoop real quick. Right there on the 19th fret of the B string. This is, next part is really cool. He's gonna start on the 11th fret of the G string and do a 1.5 step bend. So again, you can check this. This is cool because it's going to an A chord and he's bending up to this A note. So that makes sense. So let's talk about this. So we're gonna bend 1.5 steps from 11. Then we go 9, 11, then slight bend from the first finger here, little index finger. So then we do 7G, 9D. Then we bend back to the B minor pentatonic right here on the 10th fret of the B string. So that's going to be a 10th fret bend, full step to the 7th fret high E. Then we go 10 to 7 on the B strings. Then we do a little slide here from 10 to 12 to 10 on the high E string. Then it's going to do a little chromatic walk from the B string, 12, 11, 10, 9. And you'll notice that again, it's going to land on this G sharp for E. One of the things they do a lot in this solo is that they play around the thirds of the chord. So, you know, again, we're on this E chord, which has a G sharp in it. So, landing on the third like that. So we got all together. Cool. This next lick, it can be tricky, the timing of it. Make sure you start it on the upbeat of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go into this section here. This is going to be up here. This is probably one of my favorite sections. It's got one of my favorite techniques. I'll show you in just a second here. But so we're going to bend the 14th fret of the G string like this, of the G string, to the 12th fret of the B string, and then there's like a slight bend on the 15th fret. Then you move up to the 17th fret of the B string, down to the 15th fret of the B string, into a bend, a full step bend up here on the 17th fret, and you can check your tuning there. And then we're gonna add the 17th fret of the high E string, and then keep this bend up at the peak, and then do a negative bend. So then you go 15, 17, 15, back to 15. Then we bend the 17th fret again. Then you go to the high E string to 15, 16, 17. Now here's the lick that I was talking about that I love, and a lot of my friends who play guitar love this lick. You bend the 17th fret of the high E string, and you kind of stop it right at the peak of the bend. And then you roll your finger over to the B string, and then you play the B string to do the negative bend. So you're bending the high E string to the peak, stopping it, rolling your finger to the B string, playing the B string, and then doing the negative bend on the B string. So then you land on the 15th fret of the B string there. So then you play the 17th fret of the B string by itself, and we'll go set a 17th fret bend again. Add our pinky, play it twice. Then you do a negative bend on the B string, and you bend it back up again. So at the top, you do a negative bend down to the 15th fret of the B string. So you go. Then you copy and play that riff again. And then we're gonna end Walsh's part by playing the 17th fret of the high E string, just a full step bend there. Now, while Walsh is playing the 17th fret of the high E string, we have Felder coming back in and harmonizing with him with the 13th fret bend on the B string at the same time. So this and this are happening at the same time. Just kind of makes that sound, right? But they happen simultaneously, so it's kind of impossible to bend those two notes at the same time. But you know, get a loop pedal and record yourself playing one part, because we're about to get into some more harmony here in a second. So we'll jump back over to Felder's part right here on the 13th fret of the B string, and then we're gonna do we're gonna bend that again, and then go to the 10th fret of the high E string. They end up being the same note. When you bend that, it becomes that note. So we'll do that twice. Then I like to use my middle finger in this next piece. I come up to the 11th fret of the G string, and I'm gonna do a slide from 11 to 10 to 9, and then pull off to the 17th fret. Sorry, 7th fret. Then so to the 9th fret of the D string here, 8th fret of the D string, and then I come up to the 11th fret of the B string. So cool. That's that section there. This next lick is also super cool. You're gonna bend the 17th fret of the B string, and then you're gonna dive it down. It's tricky though, right? A lot of people will go, so you know, you can start off by trying to just do this. You bend it, and just like slowly let it down as you continually pick it. Now, and you'll kind of get the sound, but he kind of chops it up a bit and kind of dives it a little bit, which is way harder at first. So, you know, maybe try the other way first. I like to pick up when I do this for some reason. I don't know why, it just makes me feel like I'm doing, I don't know what it is. It just makes me do it better. Now you see he does like these little whip, 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 whip. He's kind of like releasing the bends. He's doing like short little bursts of negative bends as he's going down. Kind of like that, right? Instead of, that works, but I think you'll hear it if you listen to it. And I can't do it without getting my body into it. And then we go down to the 15th fret of the B string after that, then a pull off from 17 to 15, back to 16 on the G string, 17B, 15B. So down to 16 of the G string. Then we put our first finger on the 14th fret of the G string. Then we go 16D, slide down to 14. 12 on the D, then we slide back up, 14 to 16, and then end on the 14th fret of the G string. Cool, and then there's this part here where Felder and Walsh play together. I believe that Walsh is playing the lower part and Felder's playing the higher part. Yeah. That's right, yeah. And so we're gonna come up here to the 9th fret of the G string. We're gonna get back into the pentatonic here. So let me just show you this riff here. So. Okay, let's talk about that section. So this is a really cool exercise. It starts off with like this, it's sort of like a scalar 3 pattern in pentatonic, but don't worry about that. I'll just show you how to do it now. But this is a pattern you can practice. If you ever want to practice your pentatonic scales and kind of spice them up a bit, you can do them in different patterns where you play them with different intervals and stuff like that. But so it's kind of like an intervallic 3 pattern here. Anyway, all right, so I'm going to bend the 9th fret of the G string a full step up. Then I'm going to come to the 7th fret of the high E. And I'm going to roll down to the 7th fret of the B string. Put my pinky on the 10th fret of the B string, and then come down to the 9th fret of the G string. They're kind of stacked on top of each other, right? Imagine if you played your pentatonic like this. That's kind of what we're doing, right? Same thing here, 7th fret B, 7th fret G. So. Then I go 9th fret G, 9th fret D, then I do the 7th fret of the G. Then we abandon our pattern. We go 9th fret A, 7th fret D. So then I come down to the 9th fret of the A, and I slide 7-5 here. So then I slide 7 to 9 A, and on the 7th fret of the D. Then I just play the high E string on the 7th fret. I've seen tabs where it goes 7-7 like that. And I've seen it where it like does a mute. I kind of do the mute, and kind of the mute kind of adds a little bit of a harmonic there anyway. So you know, you can kind of do it however you feel comfortable. But I'm just going to do kind of add like a little mute there, or just like rest. And then I'm going to go 10 to 7 it's on the B string. Then a full step bend release on the 9th fret of the G string. And then end on the 7th fret of the G string there. So. Then we go lead into our last section here where we go 7-9 on the G, then 9-7-8 on B, 7 on B, then we go 6-7-9 on the high E. All right, let's pause here and go back over to Walsh's part. I'm sorry, Felder's part in here where he's playing higher. So while Walsh is doing this, that little part, there's a higher part happening here. Okay, so it's going to be starting on the 10th fret of the B string, and then it's going to go to the 10th fret of the high string. Then you do a third harmony here by going 10 B, 9 high E, 8 B, 7 high E. So then we go 7, 10 on the B. Then we go 9 G, 8 on the B. So then we go 9 D, 7 G. Okay. Then up to the 7th fret of the D string, slide 5 to 4 on the D string, so then back 5 to 7 on the D string, and on the 7th fret of the G string. Here we go. Then we come all the way up to the 14th fret of the high E. Then we do a pull off 12 to 10 on the high E, then bend full step release on the 12th fret, and then end on the 11th fret of the G string. So then we go 11, 12, 12, 10, 12 on the B string, then 11 on the B string, and then we go 9, 10, 12 on the high E string. Cool, and those two parts harmonize together. This one harmonizes with this. Sorry. So those two go together. So, you know, have fun, you know, you can play with the backing track, or you can record yourself playing one on a loop and then record the other one. You don't even need a loop pedal. You can use your phone like voice memo. That's what I used to do. Then we go up to this like iconic ending part here. We'll start off by doing the lower part, the Walsh's part. So this is really cool. This just basically just chases the chord straight up, just does literally arpeggios of the chords. So the first chord is B minor, and we're going to be doing a pull off from 10 to 7 up to 7 on the B. This is literally D, B, and we have this F sharp here. So that literally is the notes that you would have. Sorry. Literally the notes you'd have in a B minor arpeggio. So I'm going to do a pull off and then come up to the 7th fret of the B string. That's it. Let's do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Then I'm going to back up a half step, and this is going to be an arpeggio for an F sharp chord. Right? I just have the 3 notes and the F sharp major chords. That's going to be 9, 6, 7. And then the last one, you don't play this last note here. You just go 1, 2, 3. The third one, you just pull off 2 notes. And then we're gonna come, I watched him play it live. He uses his middle finger here and slides from the 7th fret up to the 14th fret. So cool. And the next chord is gonna be A. So this arpeggio is gonna be tracing an A, C sharp, A, and E. So that's just 9, 5, 5. You can put your thumb on the back of the neck. I actually find that when it's a big stretch like this, I don't even put my thumb back here. It's just like that, right? So. Then we're gonna back up a half step to, so that's the same thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of these are gonna basically be the same pattern. And then I'm gonna go down a half step to the 4th position, and this is basically gonna be an E arpeggio. So we got 7, 4, and 5. Then slide 5 to 12. Then we're gonna back up and do the same thing for G major. So this would be 7, 3, 3, or B, G, D, the 3 notes in a G chord. 5 times. And then I'm gonna go down and do the same thing for D now. It's gonna be 5, 2, 3. I'm gonna slide 3 up to 10. And then E minor. I'm gonna go 3, open, open on B. That's just G, E, B, the 3 notes in an E minor chord. Then we go up to an F sharp chord here, so we're gonna go 6, 2, 2. These are the 3 notes in an F sharp chord. Then we slide up to the 9th fret. So all together. One of the hardest things to do is just be accurate on the slide, so that you want to practice that a lot. Cool. And then on the very end, I just did this little B minor chord, 9, 7, 7, 7. All right, let's go up to Felder's part. So this is going to be starting up here on the 19th fret of the B string, our first finger down here on the 15th fret. We're going to go 19, 15, 16. And this is going to be a G chord, right? Those are just, I'm sorry, B minor chord. This is, we've got our F sharp, D, and B, 3 notes in the B minor chord. It's going to do the same amount of times, 5 times. Then we'll move down a half step and we're going to go 17, 14, 15. And this is an F sharp 7 chord here. Then you slide 16 up to 18. Now we go to our A chord, so that'll be 17, 14, 15. Then we slide down here to the 12th position and we're gonna go 15, 12, 13. Then I slide the 14th fret to the 16th fret. Now we do the G chord. It's gonna be D, B, and G, or 15, 12, 12. This is the first time we're gonna use 3 strings. We're gonna do this D chord right here and just go 10, 10, 11. A couple ways to do this. You can just hold it down and it'll ring, or you can try to like roll it like this and play them one at a time. Then I slide 12 to 14 on the high E string. Again, that was 10, 10, 11 for the D. Then lastly, we go to the E minor, this little E minor chord here. So 7, 8, 9, 7, 8, 9, 5 times. Again, that's 7 high E, 8 B, 9 G string. And then we come up here to the F sharp chord. We're gonna go 9, 11, 11. But remember, only do 2 on the last one, right? And then we're gonna slide up here to the 14th fret. So here we go. All together we've got whoop. Except for slide that a little cleaner. And lastly, the chord I do at the end here is just gonna be 14, 15, 16, little B minor chord here. All right, that was the solo from Hotel California. If you liked it, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and you can check out our Patreon anytime you want, but you can never leave because there's so much good content.